Hello, happy September 25th, 2020. On some headlining notes, Anthony Fauci says, after vaccine comes out, social distancing and masks will be regular practice. Also, don't expect the vaccine anytime soon. How are you, sir?
I am good. Figured we'll roll into this date in history. 1789, U.S. Congress proposed the Bill of Rights, which are the first 10 amendments of the Constitution. 1911, groundbreaking begins in Boston, on Fenway Park, which is still around today. It's one of the last great, if not the only last vestige of old-time baseball. Famous for the green monster, pesky pole. It's got a few other little things.
Obstacles.
What's interesting is it's kind of like just right in the middle of the town, and it's really not a huge stadium. It only seats about 30-something thousand people, which for baseball is relatively small, but it's
Kind of nice, though.
it's a relic. Yeah, it's a real relic. 1974, scientists first report that freon from aerosol are destroying the ozone layer. 1981, Sandra Day O'Connor is sworn in as the first female on the Supreme Court. 1986, Antonin Scalia is appointed to the Supreme Court. 1989, Wade Boggs becomes the first baseball player in history to get 200 hits and 100 walks in 4 consecutive seasons. 2003, a magnitude 8.0 earthquake strikes just offshore from Japan, which even still today people will talk about if they're
What was
eating
it?
fish. A magnitude 8.0 earthquake
That's
struck
a big
off
one.
the coast. It's huge, especially because of the fact that there was a nuclear reactor not far from it. And it
Was that the Fukushima
yeah,
Daiichi?
correct.
Yeah.
So
Bad news.
yes, and so amazingly, it's been 5 years since Bruce Jenner has changed his name from Bruce to Caitlyn, and changed his gender from male to female.
And his children still call him Dad.
It's like 2017, Anthony Weiner sentenced to 21 months in jail for sexting an underage woman.
That was big when
Or
that
girl.
happened.
Yeah, and that's on this day in history. Some of the birthdays today. Some interesting birthdays. We have, let's see who we got today. Barbara Walters, 91.
91 years old.
Yeah.
A lot of opinions.
Model Cheryl Tiegs turns 73. Actor Michael Madsen is 62.
Michael Madsen. He's actually a pretty interesting actor.
Great
I like
actor.
him. He's got a lot. He plays in a lot of Western movies, actually.
He plays really like very cool
Evil
characters. Yeah, very good actor. I like Michael Madsen. But he's
Yeah, he's
62.
cool.
Heather Locklear, believe it or not, is 59 today. Will Smith is 52. Catherine Zeta-Jones is 51. And to people of my generation, Potsy, Anson Williams, turned 71 today.
I don't know who that is.
Potsy was in the show Happy Days. He was
Gotcha.
one of him and Ralph Mouth hung out with Richie Cunningham, and they were like his crew, those three. But Potsy's very well known for, when I was a kid, Happy Days was on all the time, and he was a very popular character. So,
Potsy.
sign of the times, he is now 71 years old. So, and that is on this day in history.
Very interesting.
Yep,
What a day, September 25th.
Yeah, just wanted to update a little bit. A friend of mine that we had on the show was a former police officer in New York, in East New York, one of the toughest areas in the state, in the country actually. He, he mentioned this Breonna Taylor case. There was some other issues. It just ties into what we said sometimes when you're lying down with people that are shit, you end up getting flies. And
Look at Osama bin Laden's girlfriends. They got blasted.
It's unreal. That's what happens. I mean, you mix. It's, under no circumstances is this anything other than a tragedy, her death, and I don't want it to be, it's true. But
No.
what happened was apparently there was a dead body found in a car that was registered to her name, which was why she was dismissed from her job as an EMT. Like, there's just a lot of she was around a lot of people very closely that had a lot of issues with the law. And unfortunately, it's like you're playing Russian roulette. Sooner or later, your number's going to come up, and and it's very sad to see. And apparently also, I just wanted to update the reason the cop was attended to very quickly was he was shot through the femoral artery, which I actually ruptured in my leg during a car accident, and you can bleed out very quickly. So just sad case all around, but anyway. R.I.P.
Protests are.
How have you heard anything regarding the protests? Are they still raging in the cities?
Yeah,
or are they?
yeah.
Wow.
Actually, in local areas too.
Wow.
Patchogue, Comac,
Really?
Merrick.
I looked at the. I've been trying not to watch any sports lately, just because I don't want politics to mix with my sports, and I noticed when. I tuned in to check out a basketball game, the highlights, and I didn't even realize on the back of the jerseys it says Black Lives Matter. I mean, done. Till this commissioner is gone, he is so weak and just caves into these morons. So I have to give props to Dana White, who's the commissioner of UFC, because of the fact that you have a fighter that fights under that organization that is a big Trump guy, and a part of his character is that he speaks out against Black Lives Matter and whatever, but Dana White still allows for the dialogue between the two sides. He doesn't shut anybody up, and I have to say props to him. And he also had fights going on during the quarantine where he did it legally, but he still found a way to have athletic events go on. And compared to some of the other,
one of the first.
Yeah, compared to some of the other commissioners, that's why he earns his money, that guy. And I have to say that, I will support that guy, and the commissioner for the NBA. Apparently, ratings have taken a nosedive, and he deserves it. And I'm glad to see it. They can't crash enough for me. So
yeah,
and that's the update. I don't want politics and sports to mix. I don't want it. When I watch sports, I want to get away from politics. I watch it to get away from the everyday issues with life. You watch it, it kind of takes you away into another place. You focus on the game. To have to see that and just constantly, and it's like reminds you of the crap that's going on. It's ridiculous. I don't think it should have any place in sports. So that's just my one man's take.
I'm not a big sport guy anyway.
Yeah, well,
so I don't really have any.
I got you. Most people that I'm friendly with are sports guys, so we talk about it, and
I like UFC. I always did though.
Yeah, I find that.
And I like hockey.
Yeah, well, those are the two organizations that seem to shy away from politics. It's hockey. Even they call their arenas, they call them barns where they play. Right. They have a very old timey, rural feel to them sometimes, and I just think that with these leagues like the NBA, and they're obviously they have a big suburban following, but it's a lot of their fans are urban based, and I think that the commissioner feels this need to cave in, and it just looks ridiculous to have this on the back of the jerseys. It really does. And I think that if somebody speaks out against it, in that league, it's like they're ostracized, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked that they would even either they're not looking into who this group is, or they're choosing to just roll with it. I don't know, but I certainly don't subscribe to it, and again, I don't think it has any place in sports. Just one man's take. So anyway, we can shift to other topics.
I just wonder about concerts, when those are going to come back.
Yeah.
Festivals, tours.
God, they can't come back fast enough. I mean, it's horrible. What's going on? There are no concerts right now, I imagine.
Think
so. They had that like 80s package tour that was booked. You had Motley Crue, Poison, and Def Leppard. They had a huge stadium tour planned, and that just went.
Yeah, that got
temporary hiatus.
That got dumped on.
Hard. So.
I think it's just pretty interesting. I don't know when that stuff's going to come back. It seems like they're kind of inching towards letting us know that maybe it won't be back anytime soon.
What
That's
I
the
don't
writing on the
understand
wall.
is you had brought something up earlier that I found very interesting, and that is the fact that social distancing and masks after after the vaccine is found, they were saying that it's still going to be a part of our lives. Why now? After you have all these years where the technology in the medical field and the research field was not up to where it's up to now. Why now is this such a importance to have social distancing? It seems to me that it's almost a purposeful way to divide people, keep people separated from each other. More things done online, communication with people done online, and it just seems to be inching very quickly towards artificial intelligence and that whole thing. And I don't get it. I don't get it.
I wonder if this is just like a ploy to speed that process up, possibly compartmentalize us more.
That's what it's.
But
You know,
at the same token, when you see all the mobs in the cities and stuff, it's like not really too compartmentalized. No.
why
there's-
now is what I want to know. Why now after years and years? That's why I didn't buy that whole story that it was coronavirus was started in a wet market. I mean, these markets have been around in China for thousands of years.
Never had a problem. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not well versed in wet markets in China, but I do think that, within the
I
last
bet you can
50
find
years,
some good stuff there, though.
you probably could find
In all
some
seriousness.
crazy stuff there.
I hate to sound so negative about it.
Yeah.
I know that it is disgusting, some of the stuff they do.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same token, it's also probably every chef's nightmare, wet dream to see places like that.
Sure. Well, it's
It was created in the lab, and
Yeah.
and
right.
everyone knows it.
And I think that's why in the beginning I like it. It was suspect to me because
I don't understand why people don't think it's a reasonable thought. We talked about Plum Island.
Yes.
And all the things that came just from there.
Yeah, I think people now think that. Most people think that. I think at this point, but in the beginning, this whole thing with the wet mar, it was like, God, why now? Why after all these years is there all this? But that's what also, it just doesn't sit right with me that there's social distancing and masks. What is it? I'd like some feedback too from the listeners as far as what is it that they're inching towards, because it's certainly not just for our protection to have people
I
divided.
mean, smoking cigarettes is cool.
Mhm.
Drinking alcohol is cool. Pharmaceuticals are cool.
What do you mean smoke? Oh, you mean legal?
It's detrimental to your health
Right.
and the health of others.
But I don't know. What do you mean it's cool smoking? So in what way? I don't know.
Legally.
Oh, okay. So it's legal to smoke. You're saying?
And it's
right.
detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
It's a public health crisis.
Sure. No.
And
There you go. That's why.
right.
Big money.
That's why I don't trust the government with anything.
Yeah. No.
It's,
You're one of many, my friend. I agree with you. It's never
I
as
don't
what it
understand
seems.
these people who seem to think that they're looking out for them.
Yeah. Oh.
They're not looking out for you.
No. No. There
It's
is
ridiculous to me. That's why I can't talk to people who believe in bigger government who also hate the government.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Very hypocritical. But
Yeah. Well,
I just don't get what their aim is with this with these masks and after this passes, what is it that what's the game? What's the game with
they
this?
just created such a frenzy
Mm,
in the beginning,
yeah.
and
Well, now the
It's-
stores
it's
are
kinda-
stocked with toilet paper. So
you got that back.
Yeah. But we don't have certain things that
I've noticed the quality of produce and everything has changed.
for the better or worse.
I feel like even when you look at a package of cherry tomatoes,
Uh-huh.
they just look like I don't know how to put it, but I look at them and I'm like, it doesn't look like they were placed in the box with care somehow. I don't know how. It's just something I noticed. I was like, huh.
Well,
The lemons don't have that beautiful lemony color. I don't know. I'm probably insane, but whatever. I don't care.
yeah, I don't
It's just
know.
something I did
Hey,
pick up on. That.
well, that could be. I mean, I'm sure a lot
There's
of
a
people
lack of
are
workers.
Yeah, well, people are all wearing masks. Everybody's all under stress. I mean, that could, everything plays into certain things. But
Also, there's a huge moratorium on immigration right now.
mm,
And I wonder who works on vegetable fields.
Well, there you go. That's an interesting, But I've noticed in the stores that, certain items are not available. That like there's, and I'm only speaking of the stores I go to. Maybe other stores, but I notice like certain types of rice you just can't get anymore. Certain
Interesting.
Certain types of pastas you just like they don't have them like they used to be. You ever see the Success rice in the box that you would like have? It was the boil bag.
Yeah.
I used to buy them for the kids because it's a quick way to make rice for them and stuff. The store ran out of them, and it's like there's none. There's no brown rices, no basmati, no jasmine. You could get the big bags, like the sacks of it, but certain items that used to be plentiful, they're just not there anymore. I don't know. Paper towels are a little trickier to come by. The like Lysol wipes now, I don't see those in the store. There's only like one or two brands, but like it's just stores have changed since
see
this
also
has gone
pretty
on.
like strange brands of sanitizers that
Sure.
you never saw before.
Well, that's all the new businesses opening up, capitalizing on that industry. That's what's happening. Just like when things went organic with the green industry and global warming, and you just see a whole industry grow around it. And that's what makes it suspect also, is when you start seeing money circulating due to certain types of
So that's like, because this is something we keep kind of not clashing on, but I noticed that a lot of Republican-leaning people, just the concept of global warming is found annoying. And I really, most things I'm on the same side as everyone here, but I don't understand why there's such like a refusal to like acknowledge it or at least try to do something about it. It's like this, I'm not saying the Green New Deal is the best thing that ever happened. I don't like it. I understand that there's issues with it. But I really disagree with people who like seem to think, well, nature is intending it anyway, so there are things we can do.
Sure.
It's just that the argument doesn't want to be heard by one side. And if they actually did contribute to the argument, and this is something that we've said many times, like the Republicans are kind of like do-nothings. Like Grandma says that all the time. She's like, that's one of the biggest problems is that they're a do-nothing party. And I tend to agree with her there. But if there was some Republicans who are looking to get in on it and contribute to the conversation, I wonder what they
I
they
think
could
a
dig
lot
up.
of young Republicans now are starting to. I was listening to something last night, and they were speaking about global warming and stuff, and it seems like the younger generation of Republicans are more apt to believe in global warming and not necessarily. I think the argument for me personally isn't that there's global warming or climate change. I mean, it's the cause of what it is, and the fact that this isn't a problem that's been around since the beginning of time. But now that we have the technology, maybe we can steer it in the right direction rather than contribute to the problem more and more.
Yeah, it's really like.
I hate littering. I hate all that stuff. That drives me crazy.
Especially like mid-America, like a lot of, I don't want to categorize, but a lot of people over there just don't believe any of it.
Right.
Where it's like they don't want to hear any argument.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Well, that's the.
I can't like, there's certain things that you got to have a little common sense with.
Sure. That's the polarization when you have somebody who's too far on one side, too far on the other. That's
that's like the
it's
old
no good.
Republican status quo. Those people.
Right.
And I don't know. I can't get down with that.
No, I get it.
Granted, I don't think that the left has the right.
What do you think
idea.
the deal is? Like, if as a middle of the road, like, what's your take on global warming? What do you think?
Well, I'm a big Elon guy, and so anything that engineers or scientists put forward that could work, the question then becomes taxes and funding for it. But I think we generally throw a lot of money at a lot of different things that we could maybe reinvest that money into green energy. Personally, I have no dog in the game. If we stopped using oil, I really could care less.
Sure.
If we started using electric more and started doing, I really have no problem with that.
Right.
Reserve all the oil for the military for all I care. That would be a smart thing to do.
Are you in the camp that thinks global warming was a problem in the past, or is it just a problem that's man-made?
I know it's been a problem in the past.
Yeah.
But
That's how
I
feel.
know that we can also terraform Mars in the future. And if we could do that,
Sure. Well, that's the thing. The technology could be there
If we
now to
right
steer it
now,
in the
if
right
we
direction.
just started 20 years ago.
Yeah. No,
So-
I know.
And that's a huge thing, and that leads to like infrastructure. We could be living in such a nicer, more advanced society in certain degrees. Like it's
Yeah.
not a far out concept.
No.
You look at certain places in Europe. Granted, some places are shit in Europe,
Mhm.
but there are some places where you see the infrastructure and you learn about it, and you're like, wow.
It's a right mixture of government in those places too, and that's what leads to the forwarding of ideas
Yeah,
and
no one's
progression.
perfect, but
No.
I think that like as far as infrastructure and doing things to
Mhm.
clean our environments,
Sure.
you know, there's like very like strange public education, like it's taboo to talk to kids about that kind of, you know, like you know how schools are, like
Mhm.
with church and religion. Granted, they do ebb more on the side
Mhm.
of being green and everything. It's still like I don't know.
Well, I feel like schools.
If you go down to the bay at the end of the block and you look in the reeds,
Yeah.
it's filled with plastic.
Oh, it's disgusting on those. You know,
Like what about a school trip that takes kids like just to clean that stuff?
Well, you
Like,
know what
like,
I find with schools is that they teach about global warming, but they don't teach the truth about global warming, which is it's climate change has been around since the beginning of Earth. It's like give kids and man has certainly contributed to it. So it's like give kids the truth. Don't teach them just because you know your take on, not you, but the teacher has a take on global warming that it's man-made and the Earth was never, you know, there was no problems with the climate before that. It's from all the aerosol and the oil. No, let them know climate change is a natural part of Earth, but man can do things to either fix the problem.
So you don't think though that humankind is contributing to this?
100% I do. I just said it.
problem? It has to be.
Yeah, I just said that.
I
I also
misheard
said
you.
that the technology is there
Right.
to better it.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is, don't teach kids that it's only like to really teach them what global
Right,
warming
the full
is.
spectrum of the whole.
That's
idea.
my right. Because what happens is then you
When I
start
was
to.
in like sixth grade, it was really like popping up at that
Sure.
point, and I remember it specifically that
Yeah,
year.
that's when it was
And it
like
was just like
hot.
humans bad, humans
Yeah,
bad. You know.
yeah, that's when it was. Well, but that's the problem. And then what happens is you're creating kids who they're on that political thing where it's like anybody that has any ideas other than green, green, green is bad. You know, like you have to look at both sides of everything and understand global warming has always been there. Now, with that being said, does man contribute to it? 100%. Can we, like you said, the technology with somebody like an Elon Musk could be there to maybe not remedy it because you can't fight Mother Nature permanently. Like eventually, it's always going to win.
Then there's
know?
there's debate about that now
Well,
with HARP, with creating weather I mean.
yeah, no, I'm not saying,
but
but I think that you could do that, but I think eventually, it's almost like when
yes,
you
it's
lay.
crazy to think that we can conquer nature.
Yeah, like, you know, I love the show, for instance, like they'll show like 35 years after man or 50
yeah.
years, and it's like, it's
Nature
crazy.
claims everything.
It's crazy. You're in a concrete jungle, and then within like 15 years of no man in that area,
It's grown.
and then by 50 years, there's like barely a sign that people
Well,
were
that's
there.
what happened in the rainforest
Yeah,
when they're uncovering like we talked about
Mhm.
that. And
Well-
they're
well-
discovering all these cities that have literally been covered by
Yeah.
vegetation.
yep. That's part of the
And
problem. Is
you
the
know what
rainforest.
really freaks me out is you know what happened to all those people?
What?
A pandemic.
There's been pandemics. There's been, like your boy Randall Carlson says, there's been floods. There's been
Yeah.
crazy catastrophes that have reset human beings almost to like square one again. You
Right.
know, there's a real.
Which is where they say religious texts come
Mm-hmm.
from, is like people who survived the cataclysms, who had oratory ability to transfer that knowledge from then to after.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Imagine.
You know what I find really fascinating with that is the fact that they feel like there's history. They feel like man evolved to a certain point where it was highly technologically advanced.
So technological they didn't need plastics.
Yeah, like maybe more so than almost where we're at today, and then they got reset due
They got
to
smashed.
it's like it's hard to
And they believe that it happened in the Gulf of Mexico.
yes, Yes. North America is a crazy and
Well, the
So,
Clovis
yeah.
first theory. Have you heard of that?
Yes. Yep. It's this area is.
It's amazing. They create history to tell you that this is the truth,
Mhm.
and then it's not the truth
Right.
at all.
Right. Right.
And then because millions and billions have been put into textbooks
That's
in the
what it
past
is.
50 years to tell you that this is the truth,
That's what it is.
it's that's the problem.
It's
That's
hard
why
to
we
go
don't have
against.
wind, solar, and sun, and
It's hard to go against the tide. Like that's the problem. It's like when you have all the scientists saying one thing, and then and your discoveries have pointed out something completely different. It's like
that's what I
you
want
know.
to see Elon Musk do.
Mm.
I want Elon Musk to like destroy the status quos of things that we think
Mhm.
are the only way,
Yeah.
because it's not.
Hmm.
There's so many different ways to. I would love to live in a world where we didn't need oil.
Yeah.
I
But
really
you-
would.
but
I
you-
could care less about oil.
Yeah.
I know that we need it. I
So
know-
if you don't care about, why is it then that you want to be without it? Like
because
it
drips out of every car
Gotcha.
and it goes directly into
Global
the
warming.
waterways.
Got you. Yeah. It's very dirty. No
It's
question.
disgusting.
I mean, remember they used coal back in the day. You know how
right.
dirty that
and then
was.
you have people who fight for coal,
Yeah.
and it's like you're literally even killing yourself.
I know. I know. I know.
And then what's disgusting about the coal is all that smog goes up and comes over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't even stay with them.
Oh, you see the people in the.
I don't know. The green stuff, I can
I
get
think some
behind
of it
that.
is good. I just think, unfortunately, it's when.
What if it's a system that works against it and makes it seem like it's this evil thing, and in reality, it's not?
Right. I think what happens is, unfortunately, you get guys like an Al Gore who might be talking about something that is accurate, but then it's like they jump to capitalize with, for the money in that industry, and
But
then
isn't that
they
what the oil industry does?
the oil industry is. I mean,
a
that's what
giant.
Standard Oil was. They broke it up originally, and then all they did was, instead of having one Standard Oil, you had Standard Oil of New York, Standard
World
Oil
War
of
I was
Pennsylvania.
the beginning of the oil wars
Yeah, yeah,
in the Middle East.
Yeah.
It really was. That's who, like the Turks and all these people, they knew what they had there.
Yep.
And
What's amazing is that the United States is the biggest producer of it too.
Yeah.
And we don't export it, but we are the biggest
we reserve
producer.
it. I like that. I have no problem with using the oil. It's the fact that everyone is reliant on it.
Yeah. No.
And there's
it's
no
led
alternatives.
It's led to wars. It's
has.
an issue. It's a real issue.
And also, I can't imagine like it's good to drain the oil from the earth like that.
No.
You know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's these
it's-
giant pools that
I
form
know.
naturally.
I know. Look, there's to me, nothing twists me more than when I see people who, if there's a garbage right near them,
Yeah.
or even like just take like a wrapper of something, just like this, and just throw it out their car window or something. It's like, why?
I know.
Why do that? Even I'll never flick a cigarette butt out the window. Like those types of things.
I
just,
put them in my pocket. If
Right,
I'm out
right.
on the dock, I just-
I'll drain the
Yeah.
and I put it in my pocket. It just why.
That's the best thing about having a campfire, by the way. Is when you got your cigarette butts and your beer
burn.
cans,
Yeah.
which is bad for the environment. So nobody slay me for that. Apparently, that's another big problem.
Well,
in
that's the thing
Pennsylvania.
too. Is like just
Everything
to
is
live.
bad, right?
Just to be a living creature and thrive in modern society, you're almost like we're all guilty of it. And even like the politicians that fight against it, but they're still taking planes and buses.
Unless you hunt buffalo and build teepees,
Yeah.
that's
Right.
like really how it is.
Yeah.
How it is.
Yeah. But that's the thing.
Sucks.
It's like I see whenever there's,
You know what my thing is like, all right, take these little toys right here, all those little
throw me
plastic
one.
bits.
Throw me one if you can reach it. You able to? Yeah. This right here is like a.
That's made in China,
Right.
Out of plastics that will never, ever, ever, ever,
Nah.
ever disintegrate.
Nah. Nope.
And I bought it for the kids, like I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
But then I thought about it. I'm like, think about how many little items are produced in China.
Yep.
That are made out of plastic that literally kills the earth.
Police playset.
Yeah. And then I got the army soldiers.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like these plastics, but to thrive in modern society, like even when the politicians fight against the global warming.
I really just wish it wasn't such a partisan.
Yeah, I know. It shouldn't be.
No.
It shouldn't be.
I feel like science is going to
That's one of the issues that people should kind of cross the party lines for, is global warming, because it
And
affects
it's tough
everybody.
because I don't hear anything from the right,
Right.
on how they could actually help.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
I hate to say that.
no, I get it. I was
least-
happy to hear that some of the young, I don't know by name because they didn't mention the names of the people, but they were saying there was a conference held by a lot of young Republicans who one of the main topics was the environment, and they were all in favor of, reduction of pollution and preserving certain
Some
lands.
good old competition, some good old capitalism thrown at the. I hate to say green, but whatever the hell it is.
But that's an issue that they really it's a humanity issue. It's not a Republican issue, a Democrat. They turned it into that, but really they should cross
For the
party
life
lines.
of me, I can't understand. I mean, see, this is the other thing. Like Trump pulled out of the Paris Climate Treaty.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that,
Right.
and how we were being
Nor do
taken
I.
advantage of. I don't think we should be financially bent over
Right.
and screwed. So a lot
Sure.
of people reacted to him doing that as him not caring about the
Right.
environment.
Well, that- yeah.
But nobody, everyone, oh, it's Paris. It's
Right.
a climate agreement.
Right.
It's
right.
great.
Yeah, I know.
Like
know.
it's just they design it to sound like
Sure.
that.
Sure. But I that's the
And
problem.
it's a shame.
is
But I haven't heard him say a thing about
the environment.
the environment.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two things. Something in the Carolinas.
That was why I like Teddy Roosevelt so much.
He was the biggest environmentalist
know.
that ever existed, and he had a lot of dead animals in his house. But
But he
was a shepherd of the earth.
Right. Right.
You like your national parks?
Yeah.
Thank Teddy Roosevelt.
Central Park.
I saw a news report like a week ago that national parks aren't friendly enough towards minority people
Oh
of
no.
minority colors.
No.
They say that there's not enough people that look like them there.
Oh no. It has to. They have
They
to
have
go
to
there.
go there. It's
Yeah.
nature's fault now.
That issue has, and that's part of the problem. Right there, what you just said is issues like that. The freaking race issue.
That's racist to me.
These politicians have to spend their time
Dealing with that shit.
combating that every time they speak, where then they can't focus on anything else because it's constant, and that's all the press brings up.
They get paid enough money to walk. you
Yeah, I get it, but
I
it's
can handle
still
that.
it's still an issue that is just you can argue it, but it's still every press conference I watch, all the guy is asked is race, and then he says, "All right, we've talked enough about race. Let's move on. Race,
know.
So I give him credit for trying to step outside the mainstream media. Now, hopefully, somebody can bring up the topic of the environment and so forth. It's very important.
I think what's going to have to happen
Mm-hmm.
is that we're going to need more of a scientific institution involved in our government that
Yeah.
has more power than it currently has anyway. Not absolute power,
Yeah.
but we need some like engineers and
Some brain power.
some brain power involved.
Yeah.
And the thing is that those engineers and the people that are intelligent don't want to do that.
No, they don't want to.
It's tricky.
Nobody wants to tangle with that.
But you know what Elon Musk does? Like he talked about this on Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the Boring Company over there, and he just did it.
Yeah.
And he invited Eric Garcetti to come and see it. He didn't like go through any crazy hoops
Sure.
to do it. He just did it.
Yeah.
And now California is going to take him up on his offer.
Well, he's somebody that's got the money to and the capital, like he can raise it to
That guy is
to
just
do these.
sick.
Whereas a lot of the scientists and the engineers, they don't have the capital to do these independent projects. Projects. That's the problem.
Musk is such a hot button. A lot of liberals don't like him.
I know.
It's so strange to me.
Look,
They say
you know,
like I've heard from liberals that he's like a cult of personality.
yeah, yeah.
Really? He's like talking to a brick.
I know.
He's like talking to a robot. I don't know what they mean. Like he's arrogant.
Goes
this
back.
and-
You can't please all the people. You just can't. You
But
can't.
I say to them like, well, what are you doing?
Right.
That guy's doing 7 different companies
Yeah.
right now that are going to change. Each
Oh, yeah.
of them change the world.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. That's.
3D tunnel systems with high-speed rails in them.
Yep. It's very easy to point out problems.
Right. The Giga Shacks, which will literally power the entire nation
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
with like 4 or 5 of these buildings. All they are is a big, giant, 6-mile-long building with solar panels.
Amazing. You just got to make sure you have heavy duty backup and, you know.
Yeah, that's why we have oil too.
Yep.
But the oil should sit in tanks, stabilize, and like we got to get off of that.
A guy
shit.
like him, really, like you said, I mean, that's. But the people that come out against him, it's always like, it's not about the fact that he's trying to better the world. It's like they
Money.
because he's not a
making
perfect
money.
person, and that's what I mean. Like everything that they attack, yes, like Thomas Jefferson was a slave owner or whatever. We know this, but it's like
I don't know.
They,
I don't know if in today's day and age you could call that a whatever.
No, I know.
That's
I
like
know.
when Eliana Omar said
I
some
know.
people did something.
I know, but you can't say that being a womanizer is good either. Martin Luther King was a womanizer, and he's,
I know.
you don't hear anything bad about him from them. So I mean, there's gotta be balance with everything, and somebody who's trying to better humanity. I get it. Look, I mean, slavery, wrong.
That's why I don't get the Teddy Roosevelt issue. He was not a slave owner. He was not a.
Which is my point.
I don't get it.
There is no perfect person that's going to satisfy these people unless you basically repeat verbatim what they're saying. And that's what they want. They want, anybody who believes in anything with Western civilization.
Right.
Family's bad, schools should be taught. You should teach things in history the way they want it taught.
I say defund the schools. I don't know.
They got to change them.
I have no answers.
They got to change them.
I think the only
I'm with
answers
you
can
on
be
that.
found in science.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Some people really get uncomfortable with that
Why? I mean,
because sometimes people can't handle the truth,
yeah,
like we were talking about yesterday.
yeah,
Science will tell you the truth
Sure.
about everything, and then it ends, and then
Yeah.
it's faith, right? That's my favorite part about science is that eventually
yeah. Eventually,
it comes to an end,
Mhm.
and then anything after that point is speculation.
It's very hard to wrap your head around certain events and theories, and it's like it goes against everything. I remember watching something where they were talking about the Big Bang, and like, is that the beginning of time, or what was before
what was
that?
that?
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
like it's so hard to wrap your head around certain things and certain theories with science that some people, like you said, they're just not ready for the truth.
Some people like just don't you have it on the left and you have it on the right where
Mhm.
like you have your right-wing people who are obsessed with God and country,
Mhm.
and then you have your people on the left who are obsessed with everything but that.
Right.
And like they both kind of
Extremes of anything are
Are
no
not
good.
good.
No. And it doesn't do anything but keep everybody stuck
Stupid.
and stupid. Yeah, you're stuck.
like when you see people run around like I mean I love my flag.
Yeah.
But like there are some people who are just like all day like
Right.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
patriot.
I know.
And then you have the
know.
opposite.
Right.
I don't like either one.
No. Because it's not done with genuine intentions. It's
No,
done
you're
to
just done like
right.
you're being brainwashed
Right.
and programmed to go out there
and
and
you're trying
spar with
you,
people.
you're trying to bother the just
Yeah, you're
if
trying to
it's-
antagonize
right,
your opposition,
right.
and
No, that's but
it's
that does
so
nothing.
bad.
There's
And that's
no
all that's happening right now,
right.
and it's slowing everything else.
As I said, with the environment science, the politicians aren't able to, to have these discussions as much because they're constantly bombarded with the race issue. It's
Yeah,
superseded
but like,
everything.
I don't buy that. I'm sorry.
I don't
don't
think.
buy that.
How can you not? I mean, that's
Because
all
they
that's
take
out there.
vacations, they have.
Oh, I
sweet
know,
time.
but they're
don't take
you know.
vacations. Don't do anything. Get to work. Then they're going to say to someone like me, like,
Yeah.
you take vacations. No, I don't. COVID
Right.
makes me take a vacation.
Yeah, no, I know,
But
I know.
I
hear
don't
you.
buy that. I'm sorry. They could work.
I'm not.
100 years ago,
Yeah.
150 years ago, they had to camp out to go on the campaign trail
I know.
and sit by a fire and have the guy hunt a buffalo so they could eat
I
or an
know.
elk.
I just.
They got too comfortable. They have too much money, both sides. I know what you're saying. I'm not, but
I'm not.
I
I'm just
disagree
playing
with you.
devil's advocate. I'm not.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, I just think that to me,
I'm tired of them
It's-
having this lavish life. I don't think that politicians deserve it. And I know that people are only going to vote for a suit. You know what I'm saying? But
not all of them have a lavish life, though. That's not true. There's a lot of politicians that don't. They just run, especially on the
Steve
lower levels.
Ballone, right?
I'm not saying that
Local.
there aren't any that do, but a lot of the lower level people
Yeah,
don't.
but who out there, who on the low level are answering like major
I know,
questions about
I know. I don't.
the whole system is screwed.
Well, the problem is you need money to get elected. That's the problem.
That's a huge problem.
So that right off
And
the
I
bat.
think that was always the case.
Yeah. So right off the bat, the issue of money is already there. It's like, how do you...
Wasn't Jimmy Carter like one of the only presidents who wasn't exactly like...
He was a Georgian peanut farmer.
He was just like a simple guy, right?
I think he
That's like the
made some
narrative.
money. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
Like
there's...
Bernie Sanders is a socialist.
Yes. There's
with his
a-
four
right.
houses.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's the problem. So, I think that because it takes money to get elected, you and it's not all like, obviously it's not your own money, but you need to know influential people. You need to be able to raise the capital. And
Don't
usually,
these liberals know that socialists were the Nazis?
I wonder what they know.
They were National
I
Socialists.
wonder what they know.
I don't know
And
what
what
they
they choose to just, maybe that's what they want. I don't know, because to me the evidence is right there. All you got to do is look at it. I don't know what they know.
So do you agree that large companies and corporations kind of rule the roost around here, would you say?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Doesn't that classify as fascism?
It does. I'm not there's elements of fascism in the government without a doubt, but it's got to meet, like it might, let's say it checks 1 or 2 out of 10 boxes, So I don't think it's everything that, that's
I think it's certainly something to consider, though.
Yeah,
I think
but,
about that sometimes.
It shouldn't be the way it is, but unfortunately,
Would you take fascism over socialism if you had to pick?
no, I wouldn't. I don't.
So you'd pick socialism before fascism? You're saying?
That's very hard because it depends who the fascist leader is.
Let's just call it fascism and socialism. No leaders, just
I think
true
that-
to the definition. It's a good question.
I mean, it's a good question. of
I
course,
think we
but-
have both.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to. There's elements of all types of governments that are good, and there's elements of all types that are bad. I think,
There are some things.
I'll give you an example. Socialism, during times of war, the government can tell industries
To
list
produce this or that.
during World War II is a prime example.
Whereas
But
fascism, the companies are like, now we're gonna do this.
yeah, I just,
Is that how it works?
well,
Fascism's a weird one.
it is. It's a little more nationalistic. It's a little more like, when you have a fascist leader like a Benito Mussolini or something, that's why
I feel like the lines are really blurred.
they are. That's the problem, is that they are very blurred. And there's elements, they all kind of go like this. It's like they all kind of blend in together. That's why Antifa
yeah.
doesn't, it's like they're railing against people.
I'm against fascism,
Right.
So I could
Yeah.
agree with the Antifa
Yeah.
part.
But I don't think they know what
I
they're.
don't think they know what they're
right.
fighting
That's
against.
my.
Right. If they were
Thank
going
you.
after like the actual fascists,
Right.
that would be another
Right.
story. Like, come down from your throne, you
Right.
fucks.
Right. No, they're just
But
walking
they're
up
just walking
to some
around,
guy.
like, destroying bagel stores.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Right.
So.
It's a problem. The bagel guy isn't the fascist.
Right. They don't. It's like they don't really know what fascism
John
is.
Kerry and like people like that, John McCain.
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
those are the. Listen, I don't know. I have a very complex view.
What about
I,
John McCain? Because he's an interesting case.
if you want to know the truth,
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think that all of them have friends, and all of them are looking. It's like the spoil system, and it never.
Oh,
ended.
nepotism
And
is still
for me, I think
huge in politics.
if you're a business that's getting favors from high-ranking government
Sure.
personnel, which I can't say for certain happens 100% of the time,
It does.
but it does. I don't like any of them.
Yeah.
And I'm actually starting to get this weird vibe, like with Trump, where it's like I do like him, and I will offer my support, but like he does things like, I'm going to tell you one thing that particularly
Yeah.
annoys me. The vaccine's coming out very soon.
Yeah, I know.
As if it's going to be next week.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
Tell the truth. Say it's almost done with clinical trials, but you're gonna have to wait a year still.
Yeah.
And then whoever wants to take it could take it.
Right.
But he like does these little manipulative things, and I understand why.
Who knows what the truth really is?
He does.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying, like, as far as when the people come out, the other side, it's like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I don't know, and I don't know what doctors and scientists who's in their pocket. I don't
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
a whole other conspiracy. Think about all the government favors that they've done for the pharmaceutical
Sure.
industry.
It's
And then think about
all-
all the people who are hooked on.
At the end of the day, it all comes
pharmaceuticals.
down to the same thing: money.
They make money on the rehabs. They make money on the government clinics. They make money on just about every corner and tax dollars.
I was listening to a radio show last night, and the guy had a false alarm, was brought to the hospital, couldn't breathe, was having some pain. So after sitting in the emergency room for half an hour, started yelling to the doctor, "Doctor, I need something for the pain. It's enough. I've been sitting here." And he goes, the doctor comes in and goes, "All right, I'm going to inject you with morphine." He's like, "Morphine?"
Right.
It's like you're bringing a gun to
That's
a knife
like
fight.
World War II injury.
Right. He's like, I felt like the guy was trying to make me a dopehead. Like, well,
I think they do.
That's a huge
they're
claim to make
legal
against
pushers.
that doctor. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, there's a lot of other drugs that are step below.
I think
Morphine.
all of what's going on right now,
Uh-huh.
what we're talking about, everything we're talking about, all this political division that's going on in the
Yeah.
world is the biggest disgrace to that flag right there.
Yeah. It's always
That's not supposed
Yeah,
to be. This
I know.
climate isn't supposed to exist under that banner.
But it's always been there, though. It really has. See, that's the problem. Is that it's even with the Bill of Rights, you had people arguing against it that the Constitution's fine the way it is. We don't need, It's like there's always been this argument.
It's
The
strange
Federalists.
what they've done with corporations.
Yeah.
How they've given
Yes.
protections to them,
Yes.
like as if they're a person.
It's morphed. I'll give you
bizarre.
that. Yeah. Yes. I'm just saying.
I don't know how that's all post World War II stuff.
Yeah.
Because
the
World
world
War II
is-
created that machine
Yeah.
of
Yep, the
industry and business and
Yes.
negotiations and whatever the hell else.
And the government was telling a lot of the industries, telling people look, the reason that you don't have yellow Lucky Strike packs anymore, green Lucky Strike cigarette packs anymore, is because the material that was used to make the cigarette packs green was used in the war for something else. So that was when Lucky Strikes
That's
became
crazy.
white. Yeah. So, I mean, it affects
Every
everything.
little thing.
Right. So,
Well, I certainly think America's got a nice dark fascist streak running right through the middle of it, as well as a nice dark socialist streak.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I think that's the problem. Is I think this is going to be common sense, but I'm going to say it anyway. The extreme of the left would be going towards the communist dream.
Sure.
And the extreme on the right would be going towards a fascist
Yeah.
dream. And I think at the tippy top, you have people who are on the left like dying for this communist like takeover,
Right.
and you have people on the right who are like,
yeah.
my corporation's
Right.
gonna rape
Sure.
you all.
Yeah.
And it's like, man.
Extremes.
And then here we are.
Right. Extremes.
They control the extremes.
Yes.
Control.
Yes. And then it's never. Look, it's just like the saying, everything in moderation.
Right.
Extremes of anything.
But then it makes you wonder: do you want the government to be big and take control of the situation, or do you just let it? Do you deregulate everything and see what happens?
Problem is that
Crazy
they
question.
eventually both.
Like the government, if it gets involved and it gets its hands on something good, it's not just going to put it to bed.
Well,
It's going to take it and make money off of it.
eventually, what happens is it's like they almost become one another. Like when they become bigger on one side, eventually they clamp down on everything. And, you hope that the hope is that if government became big, they would do things to improve. They become big and they serve their own purposes. So it's like they almost blend into each other.
I'm really just trying to find like the least political country I could move to on Earth.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go there. American problems are unique problems. When you talk to people from like around the world,
Yeah.
what we deal with over here, like they think we're a bunch of psychos. I know,
Give me some examples. I'm curious.
okay, so you take someone from, okay, Montreal. It's the
Okay.
place I went. Conversation
And that's
that
close
I
to
had.
America,
I was
so-
having a drink with an English couple
Okay.
at a bar in Montreal,
Okay.
and to them, we're a bunch of like cavemen.
Yeah.
Bah, 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 bah. Like English people, I don't care what anyone says about their immigration problems. They are a very civil group of people in their country.
Right.
It's just the way they are. Like I've had one issue with an English person out, but in their mind over here is like the wild. It always was that.
Well,
way.
yeah, it was always
You know what I'm
seen that
saying?
way, sure.
But then I can tell you about South America, where people are intimidated to come here because they think it's this big, giant, crazy, vast jungle
Right.
where like we just shoot each other like it's like in fact like it would be Mexico.
Right. I wonder how they feel about Mexico versus the United
There's
States.
a lot of inter-Hispanic racism,
Right.
which is pretty interesting. But then I listened to this guy Ed Calderon. He was on the Joe Rogan program as well, and he was talking about how, like in America, we say we're always like free,
Yeah.
free. I don't know, because the point that this guy made is in the backyard at a quinceañera, they got AK-47s and they shoot them in the sky like
Yeah,
it's fireworks.
I know.
That's pretty free.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's freedom.
I know.
Who the hell can tell them they can't? And then you like look and you wonder about like what our interpretation of freedom actually is.
You'd find a lot of people that wouldn't want that kind of freedom too. That's the problem. It's like
Would you prefer that type of freedom or not? Because to me, like
it would
riding
depend. It would depend. Would I want people just shooting up into the sky all
like
the
a
no.
bunch of gauchos.
Right.
I get it.
You know,
but who are you to tell them?
I get it. You know, that's the thing. It's like it's a very fine line, you know. And the problem
And
is
if
if
an
you're mixing
accident
alcohol, right.
They come and you
I
guys
know.
have a little cockfight.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how it's
I was
settled.
watching something, another thing where a woman, it was a black police officer and a white woman. She didn't have a mask on at a high school game.
I saw that.
Yeah. And the guy, you know, physically took her away and stuff. But it's like, for not wearing a mask.
That's not very free.
No.
I actually am really beginning to question the idea of freedom in this country. Everyone runs around like it's the most free place, and I really
Yeah.
don't think it is.
And you talk about,
And I love this country. I'm not talking down on it,
yeah.
but you understand what I'm trying to say, though?
No, I do. I just think,
It's also much freer in other states.
Yeah.
Like in
Well,
Wyoming, like we were talking
right.
about earlier, there's
Yes.
dudes in Jeeps, like,
Yeah,
bah, bah,
yeah,
bah.
yeah.
They have,
Right.
like,
Right.
Apache helicopters
Right.
that they hunt elk. That's pretty free.
America's a very varied place, and you know, I think it's also levels. You know, a lot of people too, when they talk about freedom, it's like the freedom to start your own life.
Yeah.
There's different things
Yeah,
that
but you
you
can do
can.
that anywhere.
Not everywhere you can't. I mean, there are places you can.
All right, but there's way more places you can start a life. than
Yeah,
can't. I don't like
yeah.
that. I can't. Like, it's not true.
I don't
That's
know.
one of the biggest issues that the world has with us is that we think that we're the greatest.
But I've heard
country on
that
earth.
from a lot of immigrants that this is the reason they came here was that they can start a life, and in their country they weren't able to.
But then having that mentality, you're literally thinking to yourself that this is the only country on
I don't
earth.
think it's the only one, not
But
by
that's
any stretch.
not you.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who
Yeah.
it is the greatest country, but like we blindly say it without anyone having been anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like I said, I was quoting an immigrant from another country, and he's like, you know, this.
Sure.
So,
But of course, but they can also go to Spain. They can
Yeah.
also go to a lot of places.
absolutely.
And a lot of them do.
I just don't, you know, I don't know.
Maybe militarily wise, we're the greatest country on earth, if that's
yeah,
what they mean.
yeah. I mean,
It's pretty here.
I think there's also the right that people have. You know, the problem though now is there. You know, certain people have the right to speak out.
Sure.
You know, like Black Lives Matter can say whatever they want to
Right.
say, and
I
they're
agree.
free. So it's certain people that are not able to. But I just think it's, you know, I think there's a misnomer that America is better than every other. Like, you know,
I think it's just ridiculous. People who've never left this country
Yeah.
run around
Yeah.
and say it's the greatest country on
yeah.
earth.
I mean, it's, you know,
I've only been a few places.
yeah. So
I still would agree that I love this place.
yeah,
It's my favorite.
sure.
But I think it's a little bit of an outlandish remark to be
Yeah.
that, you know, what do you know?
I think it's, you know, it's also supporting your own. Sometimes people, it's patriotism. It's, you know, I just, there's a reason that the world follows American culture as far as pop culture and stuff. Like, there's, there's something to that. It wouldn't just be if we were just some shithole country that they, I think.
But
you
don't have to be a shithole to
no,
know. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
certainly not. But I just think, like I said, most countries do look to America.
sure.
Even England.
For advice.
Even England, when they were, the bands and stuff in the 60s, they had to make it big in America.
Well, yeah.
You know.
They didn't want to get taxed to death.
So
But,
that's another.
But they also probably ended up living back in England for their. They. You know what America's good for? Coming to make
So.
money, using it like a whore. I hate to say it. That's what they do.
Yeah, some do.
And then they go back.
Some do,
And it's
for
not
sure.
like I'm targeting any group of people.
Yeah.
But I know people from around the world who come here and make a killing.
Yeah, and then
And
I
then
know.
they split like it was nothing to
Yeah,
them.
well, that's.
And that's kind of disgusting too.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's, like I said, there's problems everywhere. It's the people that I support are the ones that find solutions.
You know, by the way, Jesse Ventura lives in Mexico.
Yes, I know.
For whatever
I know.
that's worth.
Yeah, he
It's
loves it.
interesting.
Loves Mexico. Loves it. He just said, like, he's surely a polarizing guy, but I found it
Interesting
interesting
character,
that he
sure.
liked, he spoke so highly of Mexico. Look, there's a lot of expats that end up, especially
I would live in
Mexico.
Cuba. I'm not a communist.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
But
Cuba's
now, like, we're
changed.
ramping up problems again. Have you
Yeah.
seen that?
Well, what else is new?
I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. But Jesse Ventura, like there's a lot of expats that they'll move to a country like Mexico. Of course, they're living in an area that it is a gated community. They're not just like out in the open, but they live with a lot of their own types. They say the produce is better, the weather's better. Like
Everything is better.
that's what
It
I
make
mean.
that
Like
sense.
the money goes further.
For some people, that doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
But for someone like me,
Yeah. Well.
I feel like if my tomato
Uh-huh.
wasn't GMO,
Yeah.
for example,
Right.
and it was like the perfect little Italian tomato,
Right.
to me, I would be like, this is the greatest country on earth.
Yeah.
But you can get
yeah.
that here.
Sure.
Just depends, but
yeah.
you got to be able to pay to play.
Right.
Whereas that's standard.
Yeah, but that's what they were saying, that there's certain things that are just, your life is, the quality of life you have when you retire is better in another place.
Sure.
So, I
I went to a
Yeah.
place in Ecuador where it was like predominantly Swedish and like German,
Yes.
like immigrants.
Yes.
That were, it was like retirement communities for them. It was pretty weird.
yeah,
They were like the tall whites over there.
sure.
You know?
Yeah.
But they had these like settlements,
Yeah.
and like all of a sudden, like it's not Spanish anymore.
Right,
It's
isn't
like
it? It's
bizarre.
weird. It is weird. Yeah, they have those around the world, those like expat settlements of people from different countries. They all go together.
My buddy Nick, shout out to Nick Stavala. He's Argentinian.
Okay.
And I love, on Saturdays we get together, we all cook and everything,
Yeah.
we talk, and I always loved Argentinian history. Weird country.
Very weird.
Um,
Nice blend.
badasses on horses though.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
play this game. You ever see like a key ring, like that you put your keys on?
Yeah.
They like hang it from like a toothpick.
Okay.
On like a field goal pole.
Right.
And they ride their horses full speed.
Wow.
With a needle. And the idea is to get that needle into that hole.
Wow.
It's literally this big.
Wow.
And they're like standing up when they do it. It's
Huh.
crazy, man.
Never
But
heard
they
of
have the gauchos over there.
Yeah.
And they still exist.
Yep.
And those dudes are real drifting cowboys.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like going back to the Wild West almost. It's wild.
Much more peaceful and romantic, though.
Yeah.
Like everything is the wine. And the,
Yeah,
you know,
right,
Like
right.
we'll kill a cow together, maybe, you know. Like, but it's great.
Yeah,
It's so good. It's like the perfect mix of Italian, Spanish, German. It's just a
well, that's
fascinating-
what it is. The Italian influence over there is, people
Yeah.
don't realize.
Like Nick looks Italian to me, but he
Yeah.
speaks Spanish.
Yeah, but like I knew people from Argentina. They had an Italian last name. I
Yeah.
was like, wait a second. That was like That was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And they told me, no, there's a lot of Italians that and it was an Italian settlements all over there, and so.
But this kid, Nick, he makes a sick chimichurri sauce, which is a delicious sauce if you've
Yeah.
never had it before.
Uh-huh.
It's extra virgin olive oil, parsley, green onion, a little vinegar, a lemon juice,
Okay.
little red pepper flake, and salt and pepper.
Huh.
Raw
What do you put it on?
steak,
Steak?
grilled steak.
Huh.
It is like,
I've seen it. I never knew what it was though.
Don't be fooled. There's no cilantro.
Okay.
Some places say, oh, mint chimichurri.
Yeah.
Not chimichurri. It's
Gotcha.
parsley, and
Parsley.
green onion. And
Sounds
garlic,
good.
by the way.
Yeah.
And it's
Sounds
all
good.
raw. You beat it up in a mortar and pestle with the fresh olive oil.
Wow.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it is
That's
good.
good for you, too.
Yeah. It sounds good. I've seen it though. I've seen chimichurri. You know, I just never knew. Never knew.
It's
what it
meant
was.
to be a
So that's
Russian-
Argentinian.
Argentinian, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
They have a lot of grilled meat.
Yeah.
That's like one of the, it's almost like Brazilian.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Portuguese,
it's
similar.
like the steakhouses there and stuff. It's
But
cool. It's
I would
interesting,
dare to
food.
venture to say that Argentina might have the best beef quality
Huh.
in the
Well,
world.
they're known to have good meat. I didn't know that. It was you'd say
Wine,
that good.
meat.
Huh.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
When I was in Ecuador and with the World Cup was happening, it was, by the way, a sick experience.
Sure.
You got to see that. in that
It's
country.
amazing to watch soccer in any.
You know
like,
how we had the
part of the world.
lockdowns up here?
Yeah.
You don't even know what a lockdown
Yeah,
is
yeah,
until the
yeah.
World Cup.
Yeah,
The World
yeah.
Cup's happening.
Yeah, it's
Things
crazy,
are
right?
shut.
It's crazy.
One bar's open in the whole town.
Yeah.
And they have everyone brings lawn chairs.
Yeah.
Everyone watches it
Oh,
together.
it's crazy.
Huge, like,
Soccer is that's.
but the Argentinians
beautiful
were
game,
down
they call
there
it.
in the playoffs, and they would run around the squares with their shirts off,
Yeah.
painted blue and white.
Yeah.
They were the most, like, rambunctious crew
Yeah.
like I knew that I had witnessed. when I was there.
Soccer is beloved, and
Yeah.
it just never caught on as much in America.
Which is weird because all you need is a field, which we got plenty of.
I remember when I was a kid and I played, and it was 1980 when I played on my first team, and the coach was from England, and he's like, "Soccer, I guarantee you, in 10 years, because of all you kids, soccer's going to be the next," and it's just never, it's more popular than it was, but it's never been, which is
Often
weird because we have a lot of immigrants.
They chuckle at our
Yeah,
athletic.
we have a
soccer
lot of
players.
Spanish immigrants too. That I'm surprised it hasn't elevated, but
The
it just
Italians are good.
the women are actually better in this country than the men. The women's soccer team is great.
Yeah, they are great. It's,
They've won the gold. They're a great team.
I like. I really will never forget watching that World Cup down there, though.
Yeah.
That was an insane.
I love
experience.
watching the World Cup.
I think
anyway,
it
but
was
I
Brazil
can imagine.
versus Germany.
Yes, that was the final.
Yeah,
I remember I watched that final. That was a great final.
I remember that day like it was yesterday.
Germany won, I think. The guy scored a goal, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
young guy. I remember. I was in a drugstore in in Spanish area on Long
Yeah.
Island, and they had it on the TV, and they
Yeah.
were all watching it. Yeah.
Man, what a time that was.
Yeah, people think the Super Bowl is big. You should check out the World Cup in another part of the world.
The country
There's no
comes
comparison.
to a total halt.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
It's insane. England's good.
Yeah.
England has some sick teams too.
England,
It
Italy.
doesn't have to be Hispanics.
No,
Like,
it's
they're
Europe.
Europeans and-
Europe. Hispanics, Africans.
Oh,
Everybody
God.
plays.
Yeah, they're good. I think. Oh man, who's the
Cameroon
actor?
has a team. Like they all play.
Cameroon.
They all play.
Well, we were going to talk about aliens today, but
That's
we never.
Monday.
We'll
We'll
have
do
to-
it Monday. I love
Yeah, we're
that's
going to have.
my
I want
favorite
to try to
topic.
bring that in with a special song.
Yeah,
I'm
all
going
right.
to see what the legalities are on it.
Space and aliens are my favorite topic, so we can.
There's definitely some aliens to cover,
yes.
especially in this area. I'm starting to think maybe
Shapeshifters.
there's something going on over here. I'm telling you. So, anyways, have a great Friday,
Yes.
everyone.
Have a great weekend.
You have any good plans that you want to share with the class?
A lot of errands and stuff. I know that. I gotta take.
I'm hoping tomorrow
Kids or your
me and
mom
my
to do
friends have our annual Saturday cookout.
Oh, nice.
We cook a lot. We eat good.
That's
and
good.
we drink until 5 a.m.
Where do you cook out?
Travis's.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And
Outdoor.
Some, like he has like this giant, like in the ground fire pit.
Oh wow.
So like I'll bring skirt steaks and stuff.
Nice.
Get the fire going, real nice.
that's
coals.
cool.
Do the steaks. I'll cook the shrimps inside in the pan.
Wow.
Whatever, But we do a
Awesome.
little mix. We'll go fishing, catch a bass, bring that up,
Oh, that's great.
cook that sucker.
Good. Good. That sounds like a good time.
That's what we do. Well, it's crazy. He put a dartboard in his kitchen.
Mhm.
It's a big room.
Yeah.
And to be cooking, watching the UFC fight,
Yeah.
playing darts, and sipping on a nice drink, all
Yeah.
while not having to drive.
We
always joke about the bar scene. It's done
Yeah.
right now. It's just
I would.
like
I would
kaput,
much prefer doing what you're doing
There's
than
no
going
women
to a
there.
bar. Okay.
which
well,
is the only issue.
Yeah.
We got to
well,
get some girls there. But you build it, they will come.
Yes, that's
So,
a good.
so we're working on it. Anyway, have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy the nice, warm,
The last of it,
the
yeah.
Indian summer, as they
Yes.
say. I don't know if are we allowed to say that anymore.
Native American summer.
The
I
native,
don't know.
yeah, the Iroquois summer, to be very local.
Yep.
Everyone have a good